go in one more time, and then we'll just validate that. And then we've got this nice kind of shape that we want there. Finally, what we can do is we can go to the Utilities tab, go to Taper, select the taper and just shape it, smaller or larger. And we can also go to the Bender, which is what I used. And there we go, we've got the engine. Scale this to what we want it to be, and we may want to get rid of some of this geometry in the middle because we don't necessarily need it. In this particular case, we would be best to go to an orthographic view like this, and then just drag select around before we've done the tapering and all the actual bending. Drag select around a bunch of polygons for the middle, and then once you've done that, you'll be able to delete some of the inside polygons that you wouldn't need. Obviously I wouldn't try to do it once it's been bent because it's harder to select the polygons, but just to mention that. So once it's in place, then you've got the engine done. So once we've got everything in place, we can just turn the smoothing on, and then we can evaluate whether we're happy with it or not. The next part we're going to create is the actual turbine itself. Now, although this may seem quite complex, it's actually rather simple. And we're going to start by a circle from center. You can choose how many points that you want to have, but just bear in mind that every single point is going to actually have a blade attached to it. So to make the actual blade itself, I'm just going to use a cube. I'm going to shape it for the thickness that I want and the length. And you also notice that I'm actually keeping the geometry very simple so I can form the basic shape. Now if you want to keep it this basic, you can obviously just twist it at this stage. But if you want to make it a bit more complex or a little bit more shaped in the way that you want it, then you may need to apply tessellations, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a tessellation by slice. Select an edge and alpha loop, and then just make this a little bit wider here. Now, of course, if you want to rotate this, you can't just select the top polygon anymore because it's only going to rotate this part of it. It means you would have to select all for this edge as well, which isn't really a big problem. However, you might just want to go ahead and use the Utilities twist tool. I'm just going to scale this so I think that it's the right scale for the center hub and the right length, and I think this will be fine just for this demonstration. Now from the front view, I just want to make sure that I've got this aligned quite nicely, and you can see at the moment from the front actual viewport it's actually aligned the wrong way around, so we just want to turn it around. We'll turn around both of these together. That's the way we want it. Otherwise it can cause some problems when we want to use copy on support. Okay, so that's fine. And the other thing I want to do is just move this blade down just a little bit more closer to the edge of a point. About there would be good. Let's go back to our perspective view and then use our copy on support. So we're making sure that we've got this blade selected, and then we're going to go to Utilities, Copy and Support, and then we're going to look at some of the properties that we've got for this copy and support. The first thing we need to make sure is that we've actually got the center point where this little tiny icon is here. To make sure the center point is aligned perfectly, and I'm going to use, with the shift key held down, to lock to this curve. Then I'm going to click on the curve, and then you'll find that it does a copy and support absolutely perfectly. And one thing to note, that if you've got the clone turned on, if you alter or change or twist the original, it will actually automatically alter the actual rest of the clones. We click on Validate, and I'll just demonstrate this. So that's to select the original. It's got a little C there in the actual scene tree. If we just go and say select the top of this, you can see that it's altering all of these. So this can be very handy if you wanted to order some things. You can see there I'm twisting this around, and you don't have to leave it in the same place either. You can just move it out, so you can just mess around with this and see the rest of them update. You can obviously rotate any of these surfaces, and it will automatically follow with the rest of them. So that's just turn that off, and there we got the blades. Next we just use this curve in the center for the center hub. So with this circle from center, we can create the actual center point, which again is very easy. We just move that back slightly so it starts just before the blades, and you can see that the orientation in this particular case is facing the blue handle this way, so I'm just going to change around this curve, and it's adamant that he wants to be extruded that way, but that's fine. We just extrude forwards, and then make a very small extrusion inwards to create a nice tight crease there, then another one inwards, and then we can start pulling this forwards, and then another one, a little bit more tighter crease, and another one in which we will bring it right into a point like that. If you can't get close enough, use the custom view, click there, we can just select all of these points here, and we go to vertex modeling, average weld. We just ramp the distance parameter up until it snaps in, and then we validate. We smooth that off, and there we go. You can always add extra tessellations if you wish. So to even the geometry shape out a little bit more. In this particular case, I've kept it simple just for the purpose of this video tutorial. And of course the circle from center can be used again, this circle curve. And we can just expand that out because it's already centered now nicely. We can just expand that out. To create this piece, the outer shell. Using the thicken tool, we can give it a bit of thickness. Another way to get the edges tight is to actually extrude all the faces outwards. I'll just show you this. So let's just smooth this. You can see that we've lost all of the front edge because of the smoothing. We select an edge, two of them like that, and loop around, We just made a small extrusion forwards, and then we apply smooth, and you can see that it's done the same effect. Of course, now we can select all of the parts. Now, in exactly the same way that I just did that copy on support, we can do exactly the same way, or the method, for actually creating the actual duplication of other parts, like say the screws or the rivets. You can imagine how the rivets are made from a circle from center.